There's a really cool feature in Photoshop that allows you to save a complex selection so you can load it at any time. Even if you decide to close this image and open it a month from now, you can still load the selection. So why in the world would you want to do that in the first place? Well, let's say you wanted to make a selection of just certain kernels so that you can change the color. You know how some corn has like different color kernels where some are really dark and some are light? Well, you can do that very easily. But how much of a pain would it be for you to use the paintbrush or any of the other tools to then make selections on like 20 of these kernels, only to have a client say, I really kind of want you to make them blue instead, which means you have to now go back and try to grab those same selections to change the color. Well, we can make selections that are permanent. So I'm going to show you right now by using, I think I'll grab my polygonal lasso for this particular lesson, just to use this tool. I'm going to click and drag out and click and click and click until I have one kernel selected. Now once again, I'm going to just use different tools throughout the entire tutorial just so you can see how they're used. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and grab a kernel over here. So I'll go ahead and start another kernel selection over here. And I'm going to keep the Shift key down and I'm going to make another one over here. I think I'll just do 3 or 4. The Kernels of the Corn, a new Stephen King picture. Alright, so I have 4 kernels selected. Now once again, I don't want to have to do this again. So I'm going to go to Select, Save Selection, and I can call it Kernels, or whatever I want to call it. So I can just call it 4, for example, so I know what it is. So I can say 4, whatever, corn, selection, kernels, and I can say OK. So I'll press Command or Control D to deselect. And let's say I save my image and I come back 2 weeks from now. I'll go Select, Load Selection, and I can choose from the list if there's more than one. So here's Channel 4. OK. Now I want to show you something different. I'm going to deselect again, and I'm going to grab my, let's see here, Magic Wand tool. I'll make the tolerance 10. And I'll click on this kernel here and hold down the Shift key and click all over it until I pretty much get all of it. And I guess I'll grab some of these guys too. Okay, so let's say I want to add this to the last selection. Go to Select, Save Selection, and you can either channel New or go to the list and choose the last selection that you had. And you can say to replace that channel or to add to that channel. So I'm going to add to that channel. And I'll press Command or Control D, and I'll go back to Load Selection, and there it is. It has now been added to that selection. And as you saw up there, you can even delete from a selection as well. So if I were to go to Load Selection, I can then, add and load, and then when I save, I can then subtract from the selection, intersect with the selection, and all kinds of cool things. So that is how you can save things to a selection in an image that you can always go back to. I do this all the time when I do very complicated illustrations. I recently did some stuff with a castle, and I had all kinds of bricks, and I wanted to change the bricks in the future to different colors with different textures. So I was able to easily load those selections, change just what I needed to, add shadows and that kind of thing. So I can always have the flexibility of going back to make changes.